You're listening to a Roddenberry podcast.
Today is Friday, February 12th, 2021, and this is your daily Star Trek news from the Roddenberry Podcast Network. On today's show, the makers of Star Trek Fleet Command release a new game, pitting you against the Kobayashi Maru simulation. A Star Trek and Doctor Who fan builds sets in his basement and documents it all on YouTube, and I've got the answer to this week's Trek Trivia. I'm Alison Pitt, and today's show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Get 10% off your first month of counseling at betterhelp.com/DSTN. First up today, game company Scopely, the publishers behind the phenomenally successful mobile game Star Trek Fleet Command, have just released a new Star Trek game. It's called Star Trek Kobayashi Maru, and yes, it pits you against the infamous Kobayashi Maru simulation. Based on the Starfleet Academy training simulation first seen in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, Star Trek Kobayashi Maru puts you in the hot seat as the captain of a small crew. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to win the no-win scenario. Star Trek Kobayashi Maru is a web-based decision-making game with a trendy 8-bit design. To play the game, you'll make choices that will lead you through a narrative. Think of it like a digital choose-your-own-adventure, only here you can't flip to a good ending and work backwards. There's only about a 1 in 10,000 chance you'll win, but if you do, you'll be up for some cool, real-world prizes. From Scopely, with the odds of beating the Kobayashi Maru at around 1 in 10,000, the 3 fastest players to find the hack and defeat the simulation will win big prizes, including a CBS All Access lifetime subscription and limited edition Star Trek collectibles. According to the official contest rules, it runs February 11th through February 25th, and in addition to that CBS All Access or Paramount Plus lifetime subscription, you can also win a replica of Kirk's green wrap uniform from Anovos, Eagle Moss collectible starships, or a StarTrek.com gift card, among other prizes. So there really isn't anything to this game. Fire it up, log in, and you're ready to go. Just answer the questions. It's point and click. But don't be deceived. Beyond the game's simplicity lies a surprisingly compelling story. There's a good chance you'll end up face-to-face with Klingons early on, but when you take a different path, you'll end up somewhere else entirely. It's true, you might die at the angry end of a photon torpedo, but you might likewise end up poisoned or infected with a deadly disease. The game rewards your choice to head off the beaten path, with plenty of Star Trek Easter eggs, creative sets and music, and a good helping of humor. Overall, what you could easily assume would be a repetitive or a boring game is anything but. Star Trek Kobayashi Maru is easy to pick up but hard to put down, and don't forget the lure of those prizes. To play the game, head to kobayashimaru.com, or you can check out my play demo on the Daily Star Trek News YouTube channel. Next up, another fan creation, but this one you can follow along with yourself. This week, WTHR of Indianapolis brought us the story of a local man who went the extra light year for a DIY project. Todd Spann is a huge fan of both Star Trek and Doctor Who, 2 franchises that have each been around for more than 50 years, telling stories of exploration, loyalty, and mutual respect. So it makes sense that when Spann had the opportunity to build his new basement exactly how he wanted it, he would combine his 2 passions, creating a stunning tribute to both Star Trek and Doctor Who. And he's also built a YouTube channel where you can watch the whole project come together. When Spann bought his home in Westfield, Indiana, he was pleased to see it had a completely unfinished basement. "I wanted a theater and a computer room and everything," Spann said of his home, adding, "I just went a little weird and created this idea because I wanted something different." Spann began researching photos of the sets he intended to recreate, teaching himself how to build it all from the ground up. When asked about the design process, Spann said it was a lot of trial and error. "I would set something up and think, well, that's not going to work. I'd tear it down and try something else until I got to where I was happy. Just stepping into the basement is a wild experience. With fully automated sliding doors, just like on Star Trek, step inside and the first thing you'll see is a functional-ish 6-person transporter pad, complete with working controls. Head down the hallway of Span's basement starship and you'll find yourself in the home theater, lovingly crafted to resemble the bridge of a Starfleet vessel. From the captain's chair, Span is able to manipulate the lights, screens, and sounds of his starship bridge. Saying the command, "Computer, Red Alert," automatically triggers the classic Red Alert siren and the call, "All hands to battle stations." But that's not all. Span's basement also includes a full-sized TARDIS that doubles as his computer room. Span started his basement build more than 3 years ago. While there's more construction to come, he says that once the dangers of COVID-19 have passed, he'll be ready to offer tours of his creation. To see the full WTHR report and dozens of videos detailing the construction of his sci-fi-inspired basement, head over to Todd Span's channel on YouTube. Now, I've got the answer to Tuesday's trivia question here in just a moment, but first, a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp, and me. Now, you and I have never met, most of us anyway. It's only logical that I can't know what's good for you any more than you can know what's good for me. But if you're feeling like maybe you need someone to talk to, BetterHelp does actually know what's good for you. When you sign up with BetterHelp, they'll ask you about you and match you with a licensed professional therapist who specializes in what you need. Depression, relationships, LGBTQ issues, these are just some of the areas that BetterHelp counselors specialize in, and they can use their skills to help you. Me? I just do the Star Trek news. But I want you to start living a happier life today. And as a daily Star Trek news listener, you can get 10% off your first month of BetterHelp by visiting betterhelp.com/DSTN. And that's help, HELP. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health by visiting betterhelp.com/DSTN. That's HELP, betterhelp.com/DSTN. And a big thanks to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's show. Now, it's the answer to Tuesday's Trek trivia. On Tuesday, I asked you if the first appearance of three-dimensional chess in Star Trek was in the Season 1 episode, Where No Man Has Gone Before, in what episode was the most recent appearance of the game? The answer? Star Trek Picard, Season 1, Episode 9, Part 1 of the season finale, Et in Arcadia Ego. That episode makes Picard the 6th series overall in which the game has been seen. For more Trek trivia, tune in next Tuesday. And if you'd like to watch my unboxing of the Noble Collection's latest prop replica of that three-dimensional chess set, complete with red boards, make sure to check it out on the Daily Star Trek News YouTube channel at youtube.com/Daily Star Trek News. Well, that's it for today's Daily Star Trek News from the Roddenberry Podcast Network. Don't forget to check out the other great shows on the network at podcasts.roddenberry.com. Daily Star Trek News is produced by me, Alison Pitt, with selected stories by Chris Peterson. Today's show was sponsored by BetterHelp. Get 10% off your first month of counseling by visiting betterhelp.com/DSTN. Tune into the live show Daily Star Trek Views this afternoon on YouTube. That's at 1 p.m. Pacific Time. And I'll be back on Monday with more of the Star Trek news you need to know. I'm Alison Pitt. Have a wonderful weekend. And live long and prosper.
This is a Roddenberry podcast. For more great podcasts, visit podcast.roddenberry.com.